Today on the news, just kidding. I'm here at Advanced Therapies Week in Dallas, where it is a balmy -5, I believe, with 3 fabulous women who I'm sure many of you know, and we're discussing all things women, all things advanced therapies. So to kick it off, it'd be great to learn a little bit about sort of your journeys. So, what inspired you to pursue a career in advanced therapies? What drew you to, obviously, this incredibly transformative field? So let's go down the line. So Carol, let's start with you.
Oh, okay. My name is Carol Houts. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer for Germfree Laboratories. I've been in the industry 30 plus years now. Started out the bench like most people do. Worked at Pharmacia and Pfizer, fell in love with biologics. The complexity of biologics just completely intrigued me. I've had a lot of different roles in quality, regulatory, and my last major roles were really in clinical research, which really was what inspired me to start to look at things differently. I joined Germfree about 8 years ago, and here we are. Our founder actually passed away a few years ago of glioblastoma. And for him, one of his biggest visions was for us to help in this cell and gene therapy space. He really thought that if the timing would have been right, he probably would have seen longer life or maybe even a cure. So he really pressed the company to do great work in this space.
Great. And Alyssa?
So my name's Alyssa Waid. I'm the founder of Her Collective, which is a women empowerment organization that I run and do networking and events that bring women together. In my full-time work, I actually work at Thermo Fisher Scientific as a global market development manager. So that's kind of where my two worlds have married: women empowerment and advanced therapies. I have a little bit of a different background than I feel like some people here. I am business and marketing through and through, so I don't come from a scientific background, but I have learned a lot joining the industry, and I actually didn't start my career thinking I was going into advanced therapies, but I'm glad I've landed here. It's an amazing place to be, and I've always just wanted to do something that makes an impact, a positive impact, and I feel like that's what I've been able to find in cell and gene therapy. And you know these personal stories of people that things happen to them and you want to make a difference, and I feel like you are in this industry.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
Priya?
I'm Priya Baraniak. I am technically between things right now, but I serve on the board of directors of Pluristyx and have had the pleasure of working with them while I'm contemplating my next move. I'm a biomedical engineer by training, and I actually learned about biomedical engineering with a science report that was assigned by my 8th grade teacher. I never would have known about it, and I thought, this sounds so cool. This is what I want to do. So I decided in 8th grade I wanted to be a biomedical engineer, and I always thought that I would be a professor. I had like a whole idea for my lab and everything, and at the 11th hour I jumped ship to industry. I've done 3 startups now, and for better or worse, I guess I've been called an adrenaline junkie, and I probably am, because I'm gonna do it again. And so being a founding member of the last 2, even though I'm a scientist by training, with the first one of those 2 opportunities, I was pulled over into the business side and asked to build the commercial engine. Even though I knew nothing about it, I was very graciously given that opportunity to just tie on those anchors, jump in and learn about it. And I love sitting at the intersection of the science and the business in this industry and putting all the pieces together and doing all the different things you get to do in that capacity for a startup organization. And I have a very close family friend's son who has Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, and so always been excited by developments in science. And I thought about not just getting a PhD but also an MD, and decided no, but we're the people who enable the doctors to go out and do what they do. And so I agree. It's such a fun industry. It's full of so many smart, motivated people, and we're making a difference in many different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, advanced therapies, obviously, you don't need me to tell you, is the most incredible community, the most incredible industry. What does it mean to you personally, and I guess professionally as well, Carol, to be a woman leading in advanced therapies?
Well, I think it's actually such a privilege, to have worked a career and then now be in a position where you can actually impart change, whether it's in a business or an industry, or even impart change for a single patient that the work you're doing may benefit. So I think from that perspective, it's just a really beautiful thing to be at this point in time in my life and being able to see a lot of things in my career come full circle.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, for those of you who don't know about Women in Advanced Therapies, it's an initiative that I've sort of been incredibly passionate about for about the last 3 to 4 years, and all of you sat here have been huge supports in one way or another through that, for which I'm incredibly grateful for. But Alyssa, I mean, at Thermo, but also you mentioned obviously through your work with Her Collective, how have you seen women leaders, and teams contribute to not only obviously advancing, therapies within the industry, but also advancing each other?
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like I'm in a unique and lucky position, maybe compared to some other women in the industry, in the fact that my chain of command at Thermo Fisher, all the way up to our president, is all females. So
Nice.
That's been a really empowering place to be in my own career, and just in an industry that is male dominated, or the STEM field is male dominated, and so coming into an organization that my director, my VP, and our president is all female is really empowering. And so I think through that, I've had the opportunity to build out different symposiums and panels as a marketeer and bring these women together. I was really excited too. We did a panel at Meeting on the Mesa, and it was all women. And so I think it is a cool industry. I mean, there's still always more room, and the gap is still there between getting women to these leadership roles. But I do feel like it's an industry that's very open to it, and
Yeah.
sitting here with all of these women too, it's just, I feel like it's a very exciting time and exciting to see that.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. Priya, obviously, you mentioned briefly that you are, technically in between things at the moment, but, you've been in the industry for a long time. What opportunities do you see for women to sort of drive meaningful change in advanced therapies?
Well, I mean, look, whether it's a man or a woman, it's what you do and what you bring to the table, and I think women are just as capable as men in any field, but definitely in advanced therapies, and we have a lot of really strong, really intelligent women in this industry that we get to work with and learn from on a daily basis. I think what we bring uniquely to the table that can sometimes be spun as a negative, but really if you think about it, you can use it as your superpowers are that empathy, that building of villages and communities and teams, and passion and fire, right? That's not a bad thing to get excited, right? And there's so much excitement in this space.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Carol, what advice would you give to young women aspiring to make a difference in the field?
Oh, find other women, because sometimes it can be a lonely place, and challenge yourself with learning every day.
Yep.
I think that's one of the things I love about this space is there's no end to what we can learn, both individually or in an organizational level or as an industry as a whole. The sky is still the limit for us.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd impart on young women today entering their career. Learn everything you can, find those people that will support your learning.
Yeah.
And drive on that.
Yeah, definitely. And Alyssa, we've obviously touched on Her Collective. You've spoken about Thermo, but can you just tell us a bit more about, what is Her Collective? What's its mission?
Yeah, so Her Collective it's been a long journey. It actually started out as my own personal blog in college, and that was back in 2016. And so from there, I just started to find a niche that women needed to find confidence and empowerment and community. And so I was doing a lot of writing about things to find more confidence or find mentorship and network. And then it became more of an in-person thing, actually more after the pandemic. People were craving that in person, and I kind of found that on my personal journey too, of once I got out of college, you're not in that communal environment where you just have friends at every corner. And so as you start to navigate your career and you run into these things, you can feel a little bit isolated. And so I created Her Collective to be a place that women can find friendship, they can find community, and maybe their next career, that next networking thing that they need. So a lot of it is based out of the Michigan area, just because that's where I'm located. But I'm always doing things virtually, in a social media and digital world. There's always the online presence that I have. And so, my goal is to always just be empowering women and letting them know and have the confidence, finding that confidence that they should, tackle the potential that they have.
Yeah. And just to sort of dig in a bit deeper, I mean, a lot of people might hesitate to like really dive into what is a passion project. You know, what drove you or gave you the inspiration, confidence to take that leap?
Yeah, so I think what I'm learning and what I love about women in networking is I think that we're always sharing stories, and I feel like every woman has a story. And I was just talking to Shannon from She Leads Bio too, and she was, we were talking about how she's like, I know a lady that's gone through this, and I know somebody that's gone through this. And so I think that I had my own journey, as I shared, with confidence, and even through women's health. That's something I've become recently passionate about, is women's health. And I have my own stories with it. And so I think that what had led me to do this is my own passion and my own journey, and realizing that other women are going through these experiences. And I think it's so important to storytell. And as somebody in marketing too, I have to say, you know, storytelling is the part. And, you know, marketing can sometimes get a bad rap, but, you know, in this industry, not to, you know, bring it back to Thermo, but what all these companies are trying to do and what we can do is it's important to get those stories out there. So whether it's with Her Collective or what I do at my work at Thermo, is, you know, sharing stories and letting people know that they're not alone, and that there's other people going through the same challenges. And so I think there's power in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you touched upon mentorship there. I mean, Women in Advanced Therapies, as you all know, has its own mentorship program that will be opening again in 2025 for applications in April. But and all of you have either been mentors, mentees, you know, official and unofficially. So, you know, Carol, what advice would you give to women seeking mentorship to sort of navigate those challenges and advance their careers or professional development? You know, how would you recommend they go about achieving, obviously, those goals?
Yeah, well, I'd say one thing is true, is don't always choose just a woman. There's a lot of things that we can learn about navigating your career and the men that you might need to work with from from a male mentor. So definitely consider that. Know that it's very important to have that mentorship and that guidance from a career perspective. There are a lot of blind spots you have as you're trying to navigate that. You may not always see the things in yourself that are your own personal gifts, but someone else seeing you from a different perspective can be extremely helpful. And try to work for leaders that are not just inspiring, but really support your growth. I think, you know, really look for that as you're working and pacing through your career. Seek that out, and I think that's really part of the reason why I've landed where I've been. Is I've always been hungry for the learning and seeking out people willing to teach, and I think that's super important. Yeah,
and Priya, looking ahead, what excites you most about the future, whether it's advanced therapies or, you know, your own personal growth? You know, what does it hold for you?
Again, just learning. I mean, this field is changing so quickly, right? And in a period of weeks, things mature and change and pivot, and every day there's something new, something exciting, and it's something that we're all driving forward for the betterment of people's lives, and not just the patients, but their families, everyone. And so I'm really excited to see what the next year, 2, 5, 10 years holds. We're really transforming medicine, and we're going to learn so much about so many different disciplines as we do this, right? So it's fun. It's just so much fun.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited. So I think we're nearly out of time, but as we close, there are some sort of quick messages that you'd like to leave everyone with about, you know, the importance of women's leadership, the importance of, you know, having that in advanced therapies. Like, quick 30 seconds from you, Carol.
Be brave. We have a lot to tackle, and everyone has a part to contribute. Step out of your comfort zone and be brave. It's going to take a village to accomplish what we need to accomplish.
Yeah. Okay.
Something that's sticking with me from the Wyatt panel yesterday is somebody had said, don't try to be a man, just be a woman. And I think back to what you said, you know, it's are women too emotional to lead? I think it's that we're empathetic. And we think things through, but is that a bad thing? I don't think so. So I think step into that power of being a woman and use that as a strength rather than a weakness.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it back to our Wyatt roundtable last year and say, get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Yeah. So continually learn, get comfortable not knowing things, and asking for help. We're really bad about asking for help.
Yeah.
Ask for help and freely give help wherever you can and to whomever you can, because your network is really what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly, Alyssa, if people want to get involved in Her Collective, how do they do that?
So you can follow us on social media. It's Her Collective on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We also have a website. So yeah, just check us out through that. And yeah, I'd love to connect with anybody.
Perfect.
So.
Yeah, same goes for Women in Advanced Therapies. We have a LinkedIn page, we have a private group. Connect with me at the show. So I think that's pretty much it for Advanced Therapies Week in Dallas for 2025. Next year, we are in San Diego in a new location and a slightly new month in February. So in the words of Ron Burgundy, until San Diego,
Stay
classy, San Diego.